Hey folks, welcome to the Wealth Transfer with TC. Today I'm continuing in my investigation and looking at all these prophecies that have been made since 2020 concerning the return of DJT and many other things. The reason why I'm doing this is because many of these people talk about the wealth transfer. Many of these people make prophecies about the wealth transfer, and most of these people made wealth transfer prophecies even going back to 2020, 2021, and 2022. Keep in mind, it's not the same wealth transfer details that we are talking about. Their wealth transfer that some of these prophets that are talking about, it's not the same as the prophecies that we have been shown. You should know that because guess what? I don't show Hank Kunneman, Julie Green, Kat Kerr, or any of their Brady bunch. I don't show any of those people concerning the wealth transfer because their wealth transfer is different. Their wealth transfer means something else, and I'll get into that in another video. And I told myself I'm not going into 2023 the same when it concerns a lot of these prophecies, because these people have a profound effect upon the people that listen to the wealth transfer. And they're looking to where invest in and so forth. And that's one of the major differences between our wealth transfer and their wealth transfer. The only thing they're telling you to invest in is gold and silver for the most part. And that everything else and all your bills and all your debts and everything else is going to be wiped out and you don't have to do anything. And that's not the wealth transfer that we know. You know, when I asked the question, and this is what started this to begin with, is that why aren't these people being shown the wealth transfer details, right? The Bitcoin crash and so forth, and, you know, a lot of other things and a lot of other details that we have been putting together for the last several years. And so how come they're not showing the details? How come they're not talking about the details? Well, because the details don't line up with what they are talking about as far as their wealth transfer. That's one of the things. The second thing is because God is not really speaking to them in the first place, because if God was speaking to them, all of their prophecies concerning going back to 2020, 2021, and 2022, and many other prophecies that I've been showing you guys, plus more to come, that I think that are very important, and they're just a small sample of prophecies, but they are not hearing from God, and that's why you're not getting the details from these people. And some of them, they've started to. You know why? Because many of you who follow these people, you're writing them, and you're saying, hey, all these people are talking about Shiba Inu. Manuel Johnson, what is God showing you about Shiba Inu? So, with everybody sending them emails and making comments and so forth, they see those. So now they're trying to capitalize it now. They didn't see it back then. And that goes the same for all these other people. Now, all of a sudden, Amanda Grace is seeing a flash crash. Right? Because you know why? People are writing them. And they're putting all this pressure on them to prophesy some of the details of the wealth transfer. And guess what? All of a sudden, now they are, after all this time. All right, they didn't see it before. Why didn't God give them the details? And there's still many of these people. They still haven't given many of the details, not just one or two. There's many details of the wealth transfer that they are not talking about. So some people have challenged me. If you guys go look back at the last 5 videos that I've done, everybody has challenged me in every which way. I told you guys that I was influenced. I was under their spell for a short period of time, especially dealing with one particular person who was wrong time after time after time. And it took me some time to realize, you know what? This person is not hearing from God at all, period. Right? When it came to the 2020 elections and when all the prophecies were not coming to pass. Okay, that's when I began to realize something, because I was sharing with other people, well, look what this prophet said. Look what this prophet said. Look what this prophet said. And then they would ask me about it. Well, what happened? Obviously, the prophets were not hearing from God. And you know, and the thing about it is, none of these people have apologized. They're not saying they're wrong. They just keep saying that we don't have enough faith. They keep saying that we shouldn't criticize them. And the issue is not whether or not if Trump is going to return or not, right? It's that they are giving dates for it. I know that regardless of how things happen, I believe that DJT will come in for a second term. The problem is that these people are prophesying dates and time frames. Go back to Jeremiah 27 and 28 with the prophet Hananiah. God didn't call him a false prophet. They actually called him Prophet Hananiah, but he was prophesying against God's will. Right now, we are in God's will to be under the bondage. None of these prophets can prophesy anything different. And guess what? When it does happen, all the prophets will be like, oh yeah, we were right the whole time. That's why I think that things are not going to happen in the way that many have prophesied this way to happen. They've been trying to figure this thing out, and they've been prophesying wrong. And this is important because when it concerns the wealth transfer community, many of you guys follow channels that put these people on. Many of you belong in groups that put these people on, which I don't. And from here on out, they're not going to be allowed. None of their prophecy is going to be allowed in any of my groups. And many of these prophets are stroking your political ego big time. And I'm getting ready to share with you that, because what I have seen, they've turned the house of God into a political mouthpiece. And there are people that think that there are no false prophets within the wealth transfer, that there are no false prophets altogether, that all of these people all have pure and good intentions. And I'll keep saying this. It's okay to show the prophecy when it's given, but when it doesn't come to pass, you guys are ready to throw a whole bunch of stones at me for showing the prophecy didn't come to pass. And if you were really to get into it, which I don't have time, there are plenty of other channels that do. And I'll get into that. A lot of the people that we listen to, that we have faith in, do not give prophecies with dates or time frames, okay, for the most part. Right? Most of them you have not heard one date concerning the Bitcoin flash crash. And I'm sharing with you guys that there's a great delusion that Trump somehow, some way, is the president of the United States. And yet I just shared with you guys in the last video all the stuff that's happening, and people are losing their lives. And people want to keep bringing up that things are happening behind the scenes. And I've been hearing that for 2 years now. I've been hearing about military arrest. And now even Julie Green has a new prophecy. Tribunals are happening right now. And that you're going to be shocked when it comes out. So like I said, folks, it's not an issue whether or not Trump is going to serve a second term. It's these prophets who keep giving dates and time frames when it's supposed to happen and it's not happening. They are prophesying out of their own desires. And their wealth transfer, you know what their wealth transfer sounds like? Nasara. And I have shared multiple videos on that whole movement. And it is a false and fake movement that is without God. And maybe I'll do another video debunking Nasara. Actually, even before I got into the dinar, I was following Nasara and that whole movement. So I know what I'm talking about. That's why when this wealth transfer does happen, a lot of people are going to lose a lot of their funds to a lot of these, first of all, people who are falsely prophesying about the wealth transfer and DJT and so forth. But you're going to lose it to people who are planning to steal your funds under the Nasara name. All right, so what I've done is I compiled in my Google document, it's called Prophet Check. It'll be down below in the description. And I have all these channels listed here that you can follow. And most of these channels follow prophecies from individuals that we have been discussing and even more out there. Just to kind of show you an example, you have Drew Bloom. He talks about Kerr, Julie Green. Julie Green is a big one. Timothy Dixon, he's part of the same crowd. I've heard many prophecies from him that were dated that did not come to pass. Okay, Manuel Johnson, right? The list goes on and on. Kent Christmas. He follows their prophecies. And not just, don't go to his video section. You also go to his live section too as well. He does a lot of live videos. And he is going over a lot of these prophets and their prophecies. Right? And like I said, this is not something that is just, they just do it once or twice, when they make these prophecies. It's a bunch of prophecies going back years, over and over and over and over again. Here's another one, right? And this guy, he's talking about a lot of the same people. Troy Black. I used to show Troy Black, and I told you I stopped showing him because his prophecies were not coming to pass. Evangelism of God. He's following Camille Hendricks and her prophecy, so he's been talking about her. There's another one, Matthew 7:15, doing the same thing. And what these people are doing when they falsely are prophesying consistently, they're prophesying out of their flesh, and they are prophesying out of the dark side. Okay, let's just throw that out there, that these are not all flesh. When you continue to do it over and over and over again, how could you sit there and just, knowing that you've been wrong so many times, and you just keep making excuses? Oh, they stole the election. They've been stealing the election since 2020. Well, what about all the other prophecies that haven't come to pass, that don't have anything to do with the elections, right? They make excuses for those too as well. So Matthew 7:15, all these people, thankfully, I am glad that they are keeping track of these people and their prophecies, because what is going on right now is that when these false prophecies are given and they don't come to pass, they start deleting those videos, right? Julie Green deletes videos. Hank Kunneman definitely deletes videos when they don't come to pass. Okay, now I'm getting ready to share this video from Kat Kerr. Now, a lot of people are familiar with Kat Kerr because she claims to basically go to heaven every single day. She has the answers for everything, right? But she had prophesied the win for Trump and also the reinstatement of Trump, and a lot of her prophecies have been falling to the ground. But yet, people still follow her. Steve Schultz shows her all the time. She has the answers to everything that is going on in heaven. And she's seeing all these superstars in heaven and actors and famous people. And she knows how everything works in heaven. But yet all her prophecies are wrong. So that's why I don't listen to anything that she says. Because if she was going to heaven every single day like that, folks, let me tell you something. There's a lot of things that she should be doing when she comes back down to earth. So you cannot listen to anything or believe anything that she says after you hear this.
There's a lot of shifting going on in the very spirit realm, in the ground, in the air, that God himself is involved in, that you can't see. But trust me, he knows what's happening. And he's aligning us up, those who will follow his plan, who want life, who wants justice, liberty, and freedom. He is aligning us up to be in charge, to have places of authority, to have some of the biggest businesses, the most prosperous places. Even the wealth is being reshifted around. So I'm just telling you, this is a time to celebrate, and God has never stopped saying that, and I will not stop saying it either. And you will see it happen, that Trump is president now, not in 2024, people. Get that out of your head. You think God needs some help. God's not changing his timeline. Trump will be president for the next 4 years in the White House.
And he's not waiting for a cleaner, God's not there saying, well, let's wait for 2024 because it'll be a cleaner deal by then. No, in fact, if Trump had been elected, if they had not stopped counting votes, God knew they were going to stop counting votes, and he let it all happen because it was
That's
all
right.
part of his plan. If Trump had just been quickly reelected, we would think we had done so well praying, and God got in, and all of that corruption would have just gone underground.
You're right.
Would never have been brought to the surface, and people have to pay the price for all kinds of evil deeds done in darkness. And God's saying it's time right for this to come to the surface.
You're right. And the reason for the great exposure, and then when you hear the word exposure, that means something's going to be uncovered. God reveals the good things, but he exposes the wicked, the bad, the defiled. And because God is setting up a platform for the next 100 years, there you go. I don't mind prophesying that far into the future because I've already been there. And it doesn't matter what you think about that either. I'm a prophet. When God says and shows me, he takes me in person to these places and shows me. He doesn't ever talk to me in symbolism. He never has. From the time I was a little girl, he always would show me exactly what he meant. And so it's necessary to have each of these 4 years with the person God needs in the White House. He said, I will be in the White House in 2016. He said, I'll be there for 24 years, welcomed with open arms to shift things in this country, to shape this nation for God's purposes. That doesn't mean we'll just be one big religious tent somewhere. That means we will prosper in every single area of those 7 mountains. Yeah, you need to check out these people. You need to check out Johnny Enlow and Lance. They both talk about the 7 mountains. These are people you can trust that are very viable, that love God, that know that Trump has been God's choice. So he needs Trump now in 2016. He needs them in 2020. Pence will sit in he'll be the next one after Trump for 8 years. And whoever Trump has raised up under him and Pence together, whoever they know or Pence will pick for his vice president, will be president without a break, people. No vacations in there for the next 8 years after Pence will be. He will be president for 8 years. And God, in those 24 years that he needs for that platform to free us of anything that would hinder the body of Christ, creativity, new inventions. And let me tell you, I'm wearing today my NASA shirt. There it is.
All right.
Yeah, NASA, never a straight answer. All right, so let's go back. When was this? November the 18th, 2020. So this was right after the elections. Okay, so what she claims is that God takes her and shows her in person, takes her to the future, right? And showed her exactly what was going to happen. So it is now 2023. Okay, so you can see that her prophecy is completely off. Completely off, right? Even if you believe in Trump returning in 2024, he wins the election and so forth, this prophecy is completely off. You cannot make excuses. She is saying that God took her and that this is how he shows her things. He doesn't talk in symbolism or anything like that. That's what she said. So that is based all off of what she is saying. So with this is the whole thing, that you cannot trust any prophecy. You can't trust anything that she says because she claims that God shows her all these different things in heaven. You know, and it's amazing, Steve Schultz, that he's been sitting here for the last 3 years listening to the same Brady Bunch, giving out all these prophecies, and yet he still has them come on time after time after time, giving false prophecy after false prophecy after false prophecy. Now, she brings up this whole thing with 7 mountains, and I did a little bit digging, and I'm not going to talk about it too much because you're really not supposed to talk about it, right? That's from what I understand. So there's this whole thing, the ascended lifestyle, right? Join Cat Kerr, Hank Kunneman. I don't know who these other 2 guys are, right? They were talking about this ascended lifestyle. And here we go again, ascend with the triangle, right? All right, so this is something else that I find very strange. These are people that are making false prophecies that cannot come to pass because the dates have came and gone. The events have came and gone. Now, this is Taya Smith from Hillsong, right? This is the Christian church, whatever. She's a Christian singer. And people act like they cannot be infected. And you see the symbolism, everything that you see right here. Right? It's always the one eye. It's the 666 symbol, covering half of their face, covering their mouth. Okay? And I'm sharing that for a reason because just about every movie star involved in Hollywood and others that are not involved in Hollywood, maybe they're doing other things in the media, they all pose for all these pictures. But this is leading up to something because these people have been infected within the church, within the Christian song community, and this whole thing with preaching behind these triangles, these so-called mountains, or whatever you want to call it. There's a lot more that I could show here. Again, the symbolism is back there with certain individuals. Right? Here's Robin Bullock. Again, at the same conference. You know them by their what? By their symbols and what they do and what they show. Nothing is a mistake when these people do these things. Now, there's one thing that I want to share. As you can see here, this woman has her finger on her mouth. And you can read here automatically. YouTube puts these on here, right? When somebody talks about the ILL. That's all I'm going to say. Right? And here it says, the sign that the ILL uses to remind the Klan to not reveal the secrets or the mission to impose a new world order or smart cities, total control, 95% population reduction, slave and elite class divide, and a one world satanic religion. So you have to be very quiet about these things, right? Because they all do it, right? You can see here that they all tell you to be quiet about it, right? But this is their symbolism. And when you are in the club, you are required to do these things. Right? You can see right here, Mr. Hank. If you guys don't see what is going on, I cannot help you. And for those of you who continue to argue and you want to keep following these people, that is going to be your demise. Because you are going to be led into falsehood on many, many things. It doesn't matter if they preach the name of Jesus. That's the whole point of being a false prophet. That wolves come in sheep's clothing and they come in packs. So you're not going to see it when they come because they're going to sound like a Christian. They're going to act like a Christian. They're going to preach like a Christian. They're going to teach like a Christian. And they're going to prophesy like a Christian. And there we go with the whole thing with the pyramids again and the pyramid shape and the mind control, right? The pyramid is right above him, right? Then you got another bigger one. You can see it clearly right there. All right, folks. So if you don't think that you're being deceived, I don't know what to tell you because I can't show you guys any more on some of this stuff. I mean, it's clear as day right there. This is not a situation where, well, you guys tell me what you think. It's up in the air of what's going on. There's enough pieces here already that I've put together that should show you guys the truth. And these people know. And so they wouldn't even have the appearance of that. You don't want to have the appearance that you're even with the same crowd. And folks, they're all working together for the same goal. They got to play their part in controlling the masses. Folks, I could show you so much more, but I don't have time for this. I have 2 more videos that I'm doing, and then that's it. And after then, it will be up to you guys what you do from there. I just know that I don't want to hear it. I'm not going to talk about it, and I'm not going to refer to anything that they're saying about the wealth transfer, because that's what this channel is about. And our transfer, like I'm going to say, is different from their wealth transfer. You have the reset, right, from the world, and then you have the whole fake Nasara reset, and then you have what these so-called prophets and their wealth transfer, and then we have what we've been shown concerning our wealth transfer. All right, folks, so that is all that I have for today. I thank you guys for listening. God bless. TC out.